The heart monitor's piercing flatline tore through the ICU like a gunshot. My body moved before my brain processed the sound. I was across the room, slamming my palm against the nurse call button hard enough to crack the plastic. He's still here. My voice didn't sound like mine anymore. It was raw, animal, the kind of scream that makes strangers look away in elevators. Dr. Harris's hand landed on my shoulder with the weight of a judge's gavel. "Mrs. Carter, we've run every test. Liam's brain activity is 0. That machine isn't malfunctioning." I looked down at my son's tiny hand, the one I'd painted dinosaur stickers on just 3 days ago. That's when I felt it, the faintest twitch of his pinky against my thumb. Not a spasm. A response. I'd sung "You Are My Sunshine" to him since the NICU. He always wiggled that finger on the word "happy." The chart at the foot of his bed taunted me with its crisp, official font, terminal. Withdraw care. I flipped it open to the bloodwork section. The numbers blurred, not from tears, but from the glaring emptiness where Dr. Kwan's metabolic panel should have been. They'd ordered 14 tests. This report showed 9. The nurse's grip on my elbow was firm, her acrylic nails digging in. "You need to say goodbye." Behind her, the social worker already had the DNR form ready. The fluorescent lights in the hallway buzzed like angry hornets as I paced outside the ICU. 3:17 a.m., the witching hour when even hospitals hold their breath. The nurse's station stood empty, abandoned to the glow of sleeping computer screens. I could still feel Liam's finger twitch burning against my skin. That tiny movement was my holy grail, my proof that somewhere beneath the coma and the failed tests, my boy was still fighting. I moved on autopilot, my sneakers silent against the linoleum. The records room door loomed ahead, its lock gleaming under the exit sign's red glow. My credit card slipped between the strike plate and doorframe with practiced ease, a trick I'd learned during Liam's first hospitalization. The door gave way with a click that sounded like salvation. Inside, the air smelled like dust and ink. Rows of binders lined the shelves, each one a tombstone for someone's tragedy. Liam's chart wasn't with the active cases anymore. Of course not. Terminal patients get archived. My hands shook as I ran fingers along the spines until I found it, case number 447, marked with a yellow sticky note that read, "Parent in denial. Proceed with DNR." The binder fell open to page 87. There, buried between nutrition reports and physical therapy notes, was the truth in black and white, *7/14, metabolic screen shows possible biotinidase deficiency. Confirm with urine test? Asterisk and scribbled below in different ink, the words that turned my blood to ice, hold, family can't afford treatment. A sound escaped my throat, something between a sob and a battle cry. Outside, footsteps echoed down the hall. I shoved the page into my bra just as the door handle turned. The door swung open to reveal not security, but the night janitor, Carlos, the quiet man who'd mopped around Liam's bed for 3 nights straight. His eyes dropped to the open binder in my hands, then to the crumpled page peeking from my collar. For a heartbeat, we stood frozen in the humming fluorescence. "You're her," he finally said, his voice rough like gravel under tires. "The mama who sings to her boy." He stepped inside, letting the door click shut behind him. The mop handle in his grip became a weapon as he jammed it under the doorknob. "They took your baby's pee sample to the basement lab yesterday. Not for tests." His calloused fingers dug into his uniform pocket, producing a phone with a cracked screen. "For this." The video played silently, Dr. Harris dropping a labeled vial into a sharp spin marked, "Biohazard, incinerate." Then, the kicker, a nurse handing him a clean, empty vial with Liam's name. Carlos's finger swiped to another clip. The break room. 2 residents laughing over coffee. "Kid's mom keeps asking about the biotin test," one said. "Good thing Harris canceled it. That $3,000 treatment would have bankrupted her." The phone trembled in my hands. Carlos steadied it, his face grim. "They do this to Medicaid kids. No fancy treatment, no fuss." He nodded to the binder. "Page 92's worse." I turned to it, and learned what palliative care really meant at Mercy General. The page trembled in my hands as the words came into focus, not medical notes, but a contract. Mercy General Pediatric Palliative Trial, patient number 447, stared back at me in bold letters that seemed to pulse on the paper. My eyes raced down the page, catching phrases that made my stomach twist. Dexmedetomidine. Experimental dose. Comfort and sedation protocol. Then I saw the number that explained everything, $12,000 per case listed under hospital compensation. The dates lined up perfectly with Liam's sudden deterioration last week, those terrifying hours when his oxygen levels would plummet for no reason, when he'd slip into unresponsive states that left even the specialists baffled. They hadn't been baffled at all. They'd been dosing him. Keeping him sedated enough to fit their terminal narrative while collecting their bonus. Carlos's calloused finger pointed to the mini fridge in the corner, its low hum suddenly sinister. Inside, rows of pre-filled syringes stood at attention like soldiers, each bearing a patient number in neat black marker. I recognized Liam's immediately, #447, the same as his chart, half empty. A door slammed somewhere down the hallway, the sound jolting us both. Carlos moved fast, his mop handle clattering to the floor as he grabbed my arm. "You got 4 minutes before shift change," he hissed, shoving his phone into my pocket. The video evidence glowed against my thigh. I tore the contract free just as footsteps approached, but one line had already seared itself into my memory: discontinue upon family consent for DNR. This wasn't passive neglect. This was active, paid-for murder. The syringe in that fridge wasn't medicine, it was a countdown clock. The fire exit alarm shrieked as I burst through the stairwell door, the stolen contract crumpled in my fist. Carlos had bought me 90 seconds, just enough time to hear him shout, "Incendio," down the hallway before security came running. My sneakers slipped on the polished steps as I descended, each flight taking me further from Liam's room. From the syringe with his number. From Dr. Harris and his $12,000 bonus. The parking garage swallowed me whole, concrete pillars stretching like a maze in the yellow emergency lights. I fumbled with Carlos's phone, the video of Harris swapping Liam's samples glowing in the dark. 2:47 a.m. 4 hours until morning rounds. 4 hours to prove my son wasn't dying. The 24-hour pharmacy neon burned my eyes as I slammed the metabolic study printouts on the counter. The clerk's bored expression vanished when I pointed to the highlighted line, biotinidase deficiency, treatable with over-the-counter supplements. "Give me every biotin bottle you have." Her mouth opened to protest until I played the video. The color drained from her face. She emptied the shelf silently. Back in my car, the pills rattled like dice as I sped toward the only person who'd believe me, Liam's original pediatrician, Dr. Kwan. The one they'd forced off his case. The hospital loomed behind me, its windows glowing like eyes. Somewhere inside, an alarm was still sounding. Somewhere inside, a syringe with my son's name waited. Dr. Kwan's apartment smelled like peppermint tea and medical textbooks. She answered the door in a rumpled Harvard hoodie, her eyes widening at the biotin bottle spilling from my arms. Before I could speak, she grabbed my wrist and yanked me inside, deadbolting the door behind us. "They took my license because I ordered that metabolic panel," she said, snatching the contract from my shaking hands. Her lips moved silently as she read, then froze at the $12,000 figure. Mother of God. They're not just covering up a misdiagnosis, they're running a damn drug trial. Her wall clock ticked loudly in the silence. 3:29 a.m. Kwan paced, her socks leaving faint prints on the hardwood. Biotinidase deficiency mimics terminal brain damage when untreated. But here's what they didn't bank on. She ripped open a bottle, shaking 2 pills into my palm. "These start working in hours if we're right." Then came the sound we both feared, tires screeching outside. Kwan peered through the blinds. "Hospital security. They've got your plate." She shoved a key into my hand. "Back door. My clinic has a compounding lab, we'll make our own for biotin. But you need to get to Liam now." As I sprinted to my car, Kwan's final warning chased me: "They'll unplug him the second they know you're coming." The hospital doors hissed open to an unnerving quiet. No alarms. No running. Just the too bright fluorescence of the empty lobby. My sneakers squeaked against the sterile floor as I clutched the pills in my pocket, each step echoing like a gunshot in the hollow hallway. Then I heard it, the long, droning beep of a disconnected heart monitor. I knew that sound. The crash cart outside Liam's room confirmed it. Dr. Harris stood over my son's bed, his back to the door, hands working methodically. Removing tubes. Turning off screens. Erasing proof. The biotin bottle cracked against the tile as I lunged, knocking over a tray of instruments. Harris spun, his face twisting from shock to fury when he saw the pills scattered between us. "You unbelievable bitch," he hissed, stepping between me and Liam's still body. "It's over." The paperwork signed. The hospital's automatic doors slid open too slowly, as if resisting me. That unnatural quiet hit first. No code alarms, no rushing feet, just the hum of vending machines and the squeak of my sneakers on waxed floors. I clutched the biotin pill so tight the bottle left ridges in my palm. The elevator took forever, each second stretching like the flatline still ringing in my ears from Carlos's phone video. When the doors opened on the PICU, the first thing I saw was the crash cart abandoned outside Liam's room. The second was Dr. Harris's silhouette through the glass, his hands moving with terrible purpose as he disconnected the ventilator. I moved without thinking. The biotin bottle hit the floor with a clatter that made Harris spin. His eyes dropped to the scattered pills, then up to my face, and in that moment I saw the calculations flashing behind his glasses, how much time he had left, how fast he needed to work. Mrs. Carter, he said, stepping between me and the bed, voice slick with fake sympathy, you need to let go. The DNR is already, a sound cut him off. Small. Wet. Desperate. Liam coughed. Not the weak, dying rattle from this morning. A real, chest-deep cough that made his whole body jerk. Harris went sheet white. Behind him, the heart monitor blipped once, twice, then erupted into a rhythmic chorus as Liam took his first unaided breath in days. The door burst open behind me as Carlos barreled in with 3 security guards in tow, shouting about a fabricated emergency down the hall. Harris's mouth opened, but no words came out. His foot slid back, nudging something under the bed, an empty syringe with that same damn patient number. The pieces locked together, he hadn't been disconnecting life support. He'd been administering one final dose. Time slowed as the syringe skittered across the tiles, coming to rest against a security guard's boot. The room held its breath, Carlos mid-shout, the guards frozen mid-step, even the heart monitor seemed to pause between beeps. Then everything happened at once. The youngest guard, maybe 20, with a patchy beard, bent to pick up the syringe. His brow furrowed as he read the label. Harris lunged forward, his white coat flapping. That's contaminated. His voice cracked like a teenager's. Carlos moved faster, snatching it first. Contaminated with what, doctor? He turned the vial toward the guards. This your special, let him die medicine? Liam coughed again, his tiny hand flailing until it found mine. His grip was weak but unmistakable, the same 2 squeezes he'd given me as a baby when he recognized my voice. The guards exchanged glances. The bearded one reached for his radio. Harris made his play then, bolting for the door. Carlos stuck out a foot, sending him sprawling into the crash cart. Needles and vials rained down as the doctor hit the floor, his glasses skittering under the bed. That's when I saw it, the label on the fallen 4 bag. Not saline. Not painkillers. Dexmedetomidine, trial dose #9, the trial they'd been paid to run. The drug that had been stealing my son away. The bearded guard's radio crackled to life. Unit 4, we have a 10 to 78 in progress, he hesitated, then made his choice. False alarm. Cancel 10 to 78. His eyes met mine. Ma'am, you might want to give your kid those pills now. The biotin pill dissolved bitter on Liam's tongue, his throat working weakly as he swallowed. We waited, Carlos, the guards, even the hospital's ancient wall clock seeming to hold its breath. For 3 endless minutes, nothing. Then Liam's toes curled under the thin hospital blanket. A small, human movement. The kind that doesn't come from drugs or reflexes. The young guard, Officer Ruiz, his name tag read, let out a quiet, holy shit. Liam's eyelids fluttered like moth wings, fighting against weeks of chemical sedation. When they opened, his pupils were different. Not the dilated, unseeing black pools from yesterday. Clearer. Present. His lips cracked as they formed the word without sound, Mom. Carlos crossed himself. The other guard started filming on his phone. Then the seizure hit. Liam's body arched off the bed, his spine bowing so sharply I heard vertebrae pop. The heart monitor screamed as his oxygen plummeted. Harris, still crumpled by the wall, made a wet sound that might have been a laugh. Told you, shut up. Ruiz barked, already yanking open the crash cart. It's the dexmedetomidine withdrawal. I didn't hear the rest. My hands were on Liam's face, his sweat-slick skin burning under my palms. Listen to me, baby. This is the poison leaving your body. His wild eyes locked onto mine. 1 minute more. Just 1 minute. His fingers found mine again. Squeezed twice. Somewhere down the hall, Dr. Kwan's voice shouted my name. Dr. Kwan burst into the room with a 4 bag in each hand, her hair wild from running. She took one look at Liam's seizing body and barked at Ruiz, hold him down, gently. The needle slid into his arm like it belonged there, the clear liquid flowing fast. High-dose biotin, she muttered. Should neutralize the sedative withdrawal in, Liam gasped. A real, full-chested breath. His back relaxed against the sheets, his fingers unclenching around mine. The heart monitor steadied, that beautiful, rhythmic beep singing through the room. Kwan pressed her stethoscope to his chest, her eyes widening. Lungs are clearing. She grabbed the half-empty dexmedetomidine syringe from the floor, holding it up to the light. This is why he crashed. They overdosed him to cover their tracks. Ruiz's radio crackled again, backup arriving, but too late. Harris was already in cuffs, his face pressed against the glass as 2 more officers dragged him away. Carlos's phone recorded every second, the video that would later go viral, #MercyGeneralMurders. And then, Liam spoke. Not a whisper. A word. Clear as sunlight. Happy. The same word from our song. The one that always made his pinky twitch. Kwan's hands shook as she handed me the biotin bottle. $1.20 at any pharmacy. She laughed, sharp and bitter. That's all it took. The reporters would come later. The lawsuits. The hospital's internal investigation. But in that moment, there was just this, Liam's hand in mine, warm and alive, his eyes tracking mine like they used to. The poison was gone. The lie was over. And somewhere, deep in the hospital basement, an incinerator raged, burning evidence, burning secrets, but never hot enough to touch the truth we'd stolen back. Tag someone who's fought a broken system. Subscribe.